Hi. So someone in my dream this morning said something along the lines of human beings are nothing but clusters of cells, which I'm sure we've all heard some rendition of before, right? And I responded by saying, yeah, but not entirely. And then I began to describe the quantum physics of the existence of the human body in the quantum field. And in the middle of my explanation, I became a bit more lucid and decided, you know what, let me just wake up and write this shit down. Because I already know all this in great detail, but I don't ever really get a chance to say it from beginning to end. So I'll tell you guys. So this person in my dream said that we're just clusters of cells, to which I responded, not entirely. So what exactly are you made of? And what really is a cell? Okay, so cool. Technically, a cell is a structure made up of billions upon billions of molecules, right? That's just the surface. So every single structure, such as a cell in this case, and matter particle, or particle, period, but in this case, matter particles such as atoms, which are made up of subatomic particles called electrons, protons, and neutrons. And each one of these structures and particles has something in common. Each of them are all concentrated points of vibrational frequency, each with their own harmonic resonance as well as their own energetic toroidal field, which means energy flows inward and outward through its center, creating a field that looks a lot like a donut. Earth also has its own toroidal energetic field, by the way, which would make it strange if it was flat, because flat objects don't have poles. Moving forward, this center is called the 0 point. The 0 point is that neutral stillness before the expansion, before the manifestation of creation. And while all of these structures and particles are vibrating and buzzing and creating resonance, creating sound and oscillating, while their energetic fields are also flowing in and out of them, they are also simultaneously collapsing to 0 point, which is their smallest possible size, and then expanding from 0 point, which is their largest possible size. This is what late physicist David Bohm called the folding and unfolding. So if each structure and particle has their own vibrational frequency as well as their own harmonic resonance, then this has to be made possible because of sound. I'm going to tell you a story. In the beginning, there was sound, and this sound had a vibration. The vibration of this sound had a frequency, and that frequency had a resonance. This resonance would occur as the sound and the vibration interacted with itself. This is how you get the ohm. The ohm is a tone, and this tone is made up of an infinite number of subtonalities, all interacting with themselves and vibrating off of each other, creating one sound. And something that I realized recently as I looked at the word ohm, I'm like, every letter of the alphabet has a symbolic meaning. And so it made sense that the letter O and M would symbolize the original sound of creation, because the O is the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, even though technically in consciousness, in the quantum field of consciousness, there is no beginning nor is there an end, just like an O. And then the M, to me, immediately I'm like, oh, that's a wave. And what the fuck is sound? A waveform. I just love like those aha moments. Those are what I call conscious download, because that information, it flowed through me in that moment. So yeah, anyways, getting back to the story. This tone, this vibration, then began to vibrate with such intensity that it started to create magnetic and gravitational field. And through the process of this sound, creating this frequency, creating this resonance, creating these magnetic and gravitational fields, through this process of creation, there began to manifest points of concentrated sound and frequency. Points where a particular resonant frequency began to reprint itself. Mind you, this is all happening at an infinite speed. So these points of vibrational frequency would become their own imprints. This is where they could then become a particle, where it could then split itself down the middle, creating a reflection of itself. And this would happen at, again, an infinite rate of speed to an infinite degree. Then they would all create grids. And then next thing you know, you got the quantum field. Now, I just skipped like billions of years worth of information. Bear with me. I'm definitely going to create a course on that. But I'm trying to get back to the original point, which is, are we just a cluster of cells? Because if we now know every single structure and particle in existence is a concentrated point of vibrational resonant frequency, aka sound, with its own harmonic resonance and toroidal field, then that would make you what? Something different? This means you are not just a cluster of cells, but you are in fact a concentrated point of vibrational resonant frequency with your own harmonic resonance, also with your own toroidal field. And what's the center of that toroidal field? Your heart. Your heart is the 0 point. This is why they always talk about spread love, not war, and love this and love that. Look, we are meant to operate out of our heart structure. And your heart also just so happens to be a portal. And the more you open your heart up, the more connected you will be to the literal latitudinal, longitudinal location somewhere in the quantum field that is connected specifically to your heart. You open your heart enough and you detox and ascend in consciousness enough, you could travel through the portal that is your heart. But that's for another video. But wait, there's more. So as I'm sure you've also heard, humans are made of light. I'm sure you've also heard of the term light body. This is true too. How? So ultimately, light is made of photons, and photons act as both waves and particles. But a photon only acts as a particle when it's observed. The double slit experiment proved this. This would mean that photons actually don't have any verifiable characteristics until they are observed. Why? Because until they are observed, they are acting as waves. So if we are made of light as well as sound and vibrational frequency, then in theory, that would mean that you were a waveform acting as a particle upon observation of yourself and others. But who are others really? They are all projections and manifestations of your own consciousness, which would mean that your observation of another is really just an observation of oneself. But do you now see just how deep and complex your existence is? Everything that I just explained to you is also an extremely condensed version of everything is frequency. Everything vibrates. So all the people out there who don't believe that, you live in a masculine 3D matter universe, matter timeline. So I understand that it's difficult to perceive that this seemingly solid steering wheel in front of me is made up of, frequency, sound. Okay, well, so how does it hurt when I knock on it? What's that about? It's an illusion that you and the rest of humanity and consciousness collectively agreed you would experience when, for example, you knock on a steering wheel. I can make a whole video on that too. I think I have, actually. Anyways, the moment you think you know everything is the moment you've lost. Because the more you know and the more you learn, the more you understand you don't know shit. And the more you learn, the more you realize how much more you have to learn. Check out this photo of the cymatic frequencies of our planets. And if you have a telescope, you'll recognize that a lot of these patterns look very similar to stars when they're out of focus. If you would like to learn more about that, study cymatic frequency. Anyways, I hope this video gave you a better understanding of your existence.